Paul George last night, they still got the 141-132 win over the Grizzlies. Russell Westbrook led the charge, a season-high 36 points, 10 assists for the Clippers. Shannon, was Russ's performance a blip or a trend?
It was his first 30-point game of the season. Russ played like this. There's no Paul George, there's no Kawhi, who are clearly their first and second options.
Yep.
Russ plays better in a situation like this. He's the number one options. The other options are out. He can just push the pace. He did a great job, got into a great rhythm last night. Skip, the man shooting 30% from three. He goes 5 and 5 from three. And we said, okay, this is the Russ. When have we seen Russ like this? He was very efficient last night.
Yeah.
Let me look at the numbers right here. Russell Westbrook, 13 of 18, 5 of 5, 5 of 9 from the free throw line. Only had 2 turnovers with 10 assists. Now he's the only player ever to have a 30-10 game with 5 different teams. But this is how he can operate. If you put him in a situation, Skip, and you're like, okay, Russ, just go play. Mm-hmm. But there isn't a LeBron and AD that's first and second option. Mm-hmm. There's not a Paul George and a Kawhi that's a first and second option. And you just say, okay, Russ, go back to OKC. Well, it's you dumping off to Steven Adams, who was Zubas last night, or finding up a guy. Yep. He can play that style. But you're going to tell me, Skip, the Clippers normally shoot 38% from the three.
Yep.
They shot 60% last night. Mm-hmm. Covington was 7 of 7. How many times you going to have a game, a guy with a minimum of at least 5 threes, and 2 guys are perfect from the three-point line? And I'm supposed to think this is a trend. This is who Russ is. Skip, if Russ played like this, they would have never traded him in Houston. They would have never traded him in Washington. They would have never traded him at the Lakers. And the Utah Jazz wouldn't have bought him out and says, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
So come on, people. Russ played great last night. Yeah. I won't deny he was sensational. But y'all really think this is like Russ moving forward? Because he's not going to get this many opportunities. When Kawhi come back, Kawhi's first option. Now, we don't know when PG's coming back. It might be, a week, might be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But then PG goes to the second option. Russ is a better player when he can play like this. But I don't know with PG and Kawhi being back if he can play like this. So what Kawhi gonna do? You think Kawhi just gonna sit around like, okay, Russ, go ahead and take the game over? No.
I'll watch.
No. Kawhi's body language will tell you. He won't say anything, but his body language, because Kawhi will shrug his shoulders.
He will.
Kawhi was like, man, look, Russ played unbelievable. I will give him that. That was one of the best games I've seen Russ play in a very, very long time.
A very long time.
Considering no PG and no Kawhi.
But that was the point. This was a night made for Russell Westbrook. This was a night that the home team, Memphis Grizzlies, should be ashamed of themselves.
Ashamed.
Because they did not take this team nearly seriously enough with no Kawhi and no Paul George, and with Russ as the literal driving force of this team. So what happens to the home team? It gives up 141 points to the no stars Clippers.
Right.
Really? 141 points?
That's crazy.
And by the way, speaking of stars, John Morant goes 2 of 9 from 3, and your man Dylan Brooks goes 2 of 9 from 3. It just won't work because you're getting shot out of your own gym by 2 guys you didn't even see coming because nobody could have seen this coming. No. Just for the record, you realize Robert Covington, since February 1st, has had 12 DNPs, as in the coach decided, nope, you're not going to play. You're not going to see the light of play tonight. 12 times he has not played 1 second in a basketball game that he was suited up for.
Right.
And then last night, he's forced into action because there's no Kawhi and no Paul George.
Correct.
And all of a sudden, he plays 32 minutes, and to your point, he makes 9 out of 10 shots, and all 7 of his all 7 of them? And even more to the point, Russell Westbrook, right now, even after making all 5 of his threes last night, would you believe that right now that raised him up to 30.1% for the year, which ranks 147th out of 148 qualified? Only Banchero is still below Russ. 147 of 148. By the way, LeBron is at 146. So it goes LeBron 146, Russ 147, Banchero 148.
Yeah, we hit that 3 last night. We hit that 1-3 last night.
You hit 1-3. I give you that. But for Russell West, often brick, to go pure Russell Westbrook, where this was vintage, but it was more Washington Russ, right?
Yes.
It was more, even though Bradley Beal, especially when Bradley Beal was hurt.
Right.
Now it's just Russ going solo.
Right.
And he's fun to watch because he's a terror, man.
Yep.
He's a whirling dervish.
Yep.
And he went full on Russ last night, attacking the basket and shooting threes. If we could see, we've often done the Russell Westbrook Memorial blooper reels. Let's see all 5 of his threes, because this is astounding. This might be the most shocking sight of the whole NBA season, that Russ took 5 threes and made all 5, and it barely put him over 30%. That's swished. And he's holding the pose.
Oh, that was bank shot.
That was a little lucky. Okay, I'll give you that one. But okay, that was pretty good. His form always looks good to me, and then it just clanks. He just not a natural born shooter, but he had it going. He was feeling it last night. Okay. And Memphis is like, again? And then if Russ and Covington are going to go 12 for 12, okay, you're going to lose at home.
Think about it, Skip. You let them shoot 62% from the floor, 60% from the three-point line, and you expect to beat who? Who you going to beat if you let a team? Skip, you can't let a team shoot 60% from the three and the field.
Yeah.
On the volume of threes in which, Skip, they shot 37, they made 22. Come on, Greg. I understand Triple J wasn't in the ball game, Skip. But y'all still, you still had Dylan Brooks was in the game, who's a defender.
He is.
This is unacceptable.
And Russ is yelling at Dylan Brooks at the end of the game. Go home. Just go home.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he should go home. He got embarrassed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to remind everybody, Russell Westbrook still leads the league, the whole NBA, in turnovers per 36 minutes. But last night he played clean. He had only 2.
Only 2.
Way to go, Russ.
With 10 assists, you can live with that.
You live with that. I'm going to remind you that Russ from the free throw line is 65.8%. That ranks 116 of 122 qualified. So he's like 6th worst in the league.
Yeah, but he used to be, I don't know what happened. He was a good free throw shooter.
He used to be an 80% free throw shooter, okay? But last night, what was he from the free throw line? He was 5 of 9. Okay, so it still wasn't great. The point is, when you combine poor three-point shooting and poor free throw shooting and high turnovers, it's a recipe for point guard disaster.
Yeah.
So I'm here to assert today that this was bad for the Clippers because they are getting more out of him than your team was able to get out of him. And you know what? It's probably Ty Lue, because if anybody can figure this out, Ty Lue can figure this out.
I think the biggest difference is, Skip, the expectation for when he was the Lakers as opposed to the Clippers is entirely different.
All of a sudden, you're playing for the stepchildren of L.A., right? Yeah. You're the team in the basement, and the pressure and expectation goes down because you're no longer the point guard for the team that you grew up dreaming of playing for. Okay, we get that. But the problem is, all of a sudden, at some point, Kawhi will come back and PG will come back. And now you've recreated the monster because he thinks, I'm still Russell. He's looking in the mirror this morning saying, I'm still that guy. Okay? Well, when they come back, you know what's going to happen. He's going to go full tilt, out of control, hell-bent to the basket. And to your point, Kawhi's going to be looking over at Ty Lue like, seriously?
Kawhi will give him the eye.
Yeah. No, come on. It's the worst thing that could have happened because it's not blending him. If you told me that they blew out Memphis with Kawhi and PG and Russ played a clean floor game and had more like 25 points and made 5 threes out of 5 attempts, if he did that where he blended into the flow, I'd say, you got me on this. But this was all about him and then all about, wait a second, Covington comes out of nowhere, out of the doghouse to do what he did with 27 more points?
They only played 9 guys. Clippers played 9 guys. 7 of them was in double figures. Hell, Bones Highland had 20. He was 4 or 6 from
what? He's a talented kid. Yeah. That might be a steal. They got him from the Nuggets, obviously.
Yeah, he fell out of favor. He wasn't getting
he just wasn't getting any run with them because it's stacked. They got too much depth and he was still too young. Watch the Clippers develop him. He's the one that keeps catching my eye, where I say, wait a second, he's got some star potential to him. Okay, but going forward, do I trust the Clippers anymore after last night? I actually trust them less
You
because
should. No. You should love what you saw last night.
don't.
That's what you just told me about the Lakers. You just told me I should
Totally
love what
different. Upside down.
No.
Yeah.
So when Russ comes back, when the PG and Kawhi comes
Yeah.
back, Russ blends in.
No.
Boom, there you go.
You're talking about apples to rotten oranges because the Clippers are rotten orange now with Russ. I'm sorry.
They did not.
Yep. You're in the catbird seat. We're just in the.
What catbird seat? We didn't know catbird seat. We're in the 8th spot.
We're in the toilet.
You're in the 6th spot. You're not even in the play-in.
I just don't trust it going forward. Do you think they can win a round with Russ as the starting point guard? I don't.
Yes. It all depends on who they match up. Yeah, but I think they can. If Kawhi's going to play, now it's going to be very difficult. If PG's not there in the first round, it becomes the job becomes more daunting. But
Yeah.
sure, they could.
Yeah. Paul has not been what you call a fast healer, so I just don't know. I mean, they're saying we're going to reevaluate in 2 to 3 weeks. It's
Okay, this
shaky.
week, this is coming up on week 2, right?
Yeah, we're going into the
Second week.
second week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when did it happen?
No, I
It just
think- I
happened.
think
This is week 1. This is week 1. This is week 1.
Yeah. Okay.
And so then next week will be week 2. And so
Yeah.
maybe by the playoffs,
Yeah, he was going to be evaluated
right at the playoffs.
going into the playoffs. Well, that's just evaluated. I don't trust he's going to play. And if he doesn't play in the first round, they got no shot.
They got a shot.
No, they got no shot. Sorry. Lakers, big shot.
Oh, of course.
Right now, those Clippers sit sandwiched between the Suns and the Warriors, gentlemen. And hey, speaking of Phoenix, how do you think KD looked in that big home debut last night? Everybody had been waiting to see him. Let's take a look at the highlights and get your take when we return.